let's just say, for example, that you like pizza, and I came over to you and I threw an entire pizza in your lap. Said, Tim, you're gonna love this pizza. You're overwhelmed.
Yes.
But I said, hey Tim, do you like pizza? You like it cheese or pepperoni? You said cheese, and I offered you a slice. You took it, and you liked it. You probably would say, hey, that's pretty good. I want some more. So this is a way of introducing something to someone, getting their input on what it is that they liked about it, offering them a sample of it, and then they later in life come back and say, you know what, I want more of it. If they love it enough, they'll keep buying it.
All right, what's up, Bootstrappers? We're here for another episode of Bootstrapped Millionaire, and I'm excited to have a good friend of mine on today's show. He's the CEO of NuSpira. And guys, we're going to have a great conversation regarding network marketing, MLM, and the growth of how someone can go from where he was, which I knew him 30 years ago, to where he is today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mark Sterling on the show today. Welcome to Bootstrap Millionaire.
Hey man, I couldn't wait to be here, man. I wouldn't miss this for the world, Tim.
Man, I'm so happy to have you on the show. And like I was saying, we've been knowing each other, I guess, close to 30 years
close
now,
30
right?
years, yeah.
Close to 30 years. Because we met in 1990?
97, 98?
Yeah,
98.
98, yeah. So close to 30 years. And man, I personally know your journey from where you came into where you are today.
Sure.
But I like to kind of start the conversation by you just kind of letting the bootstrappers out there know a little bit about who you are as Mark Sterling. You know, where you're from, you know, how you got started, you know, from, you know, back in the day, and bring us up to a little bit about to where you are today.
Absolutely, Tim. Well, thank you for allowing me to be here. Again, Mark Sterling, originally from Baltimore, Maryland. And for my back home folks, you know, from Baltimore, right? You know, so, you know, went through high school, didn't graduate high school. I failed a class in 9th grade, had to go to my zone school, and went to summer school to make that credit up. And because where I lived, you had to go across town, and where I grew up, one side of town doesn't like the other side of town. Sure. So had some challenges there, didn't finish that summer class. And from there, I was in 12th grade, but I couldn't walk the stage because I didn't have a 9th grade credit, English credit. So I wound up taking summer school for 9th grade after 12th grade and had to go back and get my diploma. So that was a real challenge. And I think things were tight, Tim, when I was younger. Matter of fact, I didn't have my picture in the 12th grade yearbook. There's a $5 sitting fee, and I didn't have it.
Wow.
So there's a name in there, but there's no picture.
Yeah.
And those are kind of things that gave me pain points. But like in the Bible, when you talk about the thorn in your side, it took me many years to realize that the thorn sometimes can be removed, but it doesn't satisfy the urge. The thorn for me is actually what propels me to keep going. That the agitation is what allowed me to keep driving to get out of a circumstance. I'll always say, Tim, that I'd rather be a citizen of my future than a resident of my present.
I like it.
Now going past there, I wound up going to college. I went to a local school there. I went to Coppin State University for a year. Didn't complete that, and I wound up falling in deep light with a young lady in Baltimore. And her mother gave me an option. She said, "You can continue to date my daughter and go to school, or you can stop dating my daughter." She was fine. I enrolled, right? So her mother was actually a professor at Morgan State University, and so I wound up going there, and didn't finish that either. It wasn't my path. It wasn't my destination to finish college. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. So when I left there, I wound up kind of working some odd end jobs for a few years, and wound up having a son. And I made a conscious decision. I didn't want my son to have the same experience. I want him to have at least an opportunity for a better life. So I wound up moving to Atlanta, and then brought them down. Had a daughter about 14 months later, and brought them to Atlanta. That relationship didn't work out, but what I believed for me, it gave them an opportunity to be in an environment where the possibility of winning was higher than where we were at that time. And I'm real big on your environment actually helps create your experiences. Your environment helps create your exposure, and your environment actually helps create how you exponentially grow in your life. So I'm real big on environment. So now that's fast forward a little bit more. I wound up going into working in customer service here in Atlanta in a call center. And then based on that, I got a chance to become a supervisor of a call center in Texas. I moved down there for a year. And while I was there, I fulfilled my year contract. And one of my coworkers, also a supervisor, said he got an opportunity. I was making $42,000 a year, Tim. Right? This was 96, 97. And my good friend of mine, Dan Marquez, I'll never forget it. Dan said he got a job for 80 grand. So that's doubled income.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, it's in a technical field, man, and we got to travel the world. I said, man, I wish I could do something like this. He said, I don't have any technical experience. He said, they want people with, the wireless experience like we have, but they'll teach you their systems. And I was like, can I go? Right. And I raised my hand, man. Sometimes you just have to be ready and available.
Absolutely.
Most people miss that. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and I invited him over so that we could go through a process that this exercise we're working on. He said, man, you got to give me more notice. Do you realize it's not about notice, about preparation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I don't want to go on that path.
That's right. Yeah.
And actually, matter of fact, you gave me notice a long time ago about this industry. I'll talk about that. Now, I wound up going to Atlanta to train. I was there for 4 weeks, and then 4 weeks later, I woke up in Argentina. Right, I had never left the country. Actually, I went to a Caribbean island once, but I never left the country for business. And man, I'm on a business class trip. I'm going down to Argentina. I'm working, man.
Now, this is with the new company that
you and I.
Yeah.
Right. So I was down there doing that, man, and I'm going back and forth, and now I'm going to DC, and I'm working in different parts of the world. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And I remember having a conversation. I met a guy named Cliff Burney. You probably know Cliff.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
And Cliff was from Mississippi, right? And his family grew up in a trailer. And I remember he told me that story, man. And so we're sitting on one of the largest streets in the world in Argentina. I think it was 8 lanes each way. It's a street downtown, right? And we're just at a cafe, man, having a beer, and they put the little peanuts and stuff on the table, and we looked at each other, and you have to say a word. It was an aha moment. Like, I grew up in Baltimore, like social services, back real food stamps, not no EBT cards, And he grew up, in some challenging times, man, and it said, man, he said, if our moms can see us now, right?
Yeah.
And that let me know, because I remember many times where I saw myself traveling in my mind. And I always said I borrowed from tomorrow's promise as I lived in today's activity. And that's what's actually driven me. And I've realized a lot of things in my life because I've played in the nation of the imagination. I played in those spaces for many, many years. So, all right, let's bring it full circle. Right before 9/11 happened, I remember we got cut from the project in DC, and I was getting married in October 2001, the month after, and it was a very the nation didn't know what was going on, right?
Right.
Now, my honeymoon was in Hawaii. 13 days. I'd never been anywhere for 13 days outside of work, right? And so I'm over there, man, and all I can think about, no, don't get me wrong, you're excited you're married, but the only thing I can think about is, what am I going to do for work?
Right.
I had no income anymore.
Oh, because you had gotten cut from the contract
project.
got cut, yeah.
Right. Now, even though I had some people that was subcontracted for me, I was making great money, but the money got cut off 100%. And that was the very first time that I really said, what, I don't have residual or passive income.
Correct.
I had bills that came in my house every month, regardless if I desired them or not, but had no money coming. There's a difference between income and ifcome.
Yes.
Right? Now, I remember asking my wife, actually I had a conversation with her, and I said, look, if we ever have kids and a son, his name cannot be William. Ask me why.
Why?
I didn't want any more bills coming to my house. I spent everything I loved, Terry.
Right.
Now, fast forward a little bit later, I remember you gave me a call on a Sunday, and I'm going to give you credit. I'm going to give you your flowers, man, right now.
Yeah.
You said, hey, man, I met some guys making some great money in this industry. They're having a meeting on Sunday. You called me on a Sunday. You said, hey, it was about 2 hours later that meeting started. I'm an hour away.
Yeah.
And you said, hey, can you come next week? And I said, man, are the seats full today? And I want to share it with somebody because sometimes we're afraid to call people because you might think that they're in a certain stage of life, that they're good. I was looking for something that could at least create enough income that would offset my basic bills. I want to get to a place in my life where I could celebrate zero. And what I mean by that is I wanted enough passive to come in and offset my household bills. My goal back then, Tim, was to create $2,764 a month, cover my mortgage, my car note, and family maintenance.
That's true. Yeah.
And some people call family maintenance child support.
Yeah.
But that's what it was, right? So I wanted enough to come in to cover those, and I knew for a fact, as my father-in-law says right now, he says, "Man, no matter what, man, if you got a paid-off house, you can sell beer cans and get tax money to pay your taxes."
True.
Right. So I wanted enough things coming in that got me back to zero every single month. So I got involved in industry network marketing back then in the early 2000s, and that year, from April to the end of the year, I didn't make $2,764 a month. I made $2,700 for that whole year.
Right.
But I realized when I looked at, I got so excited about that amount of money because it showed me that the industry paid. Now, what I had to learn and unlearn was I was working out of the mindset of I can work hard, production, and in exchange for that, I could receive a benefit. I didn't realize that I was not working in reproduction mode, where I could show others how they can realize their goals and dreams and do the same things. And so I went out and at that point I said, you know what, let me start looking for people to have my desired successes. And then I went out and started interviewing people in that company and others, and realized that there were some common themes of success. And then I started implementing those things, and I realized that I had to become a better leader. I was not attractive enough to attract the people I was looking for.
Understood. So, Mark, did you have any prior sales experience before getting involved in network marketing?
Outside of shoveling snow, raking leaves, taking the bags from the grocery store to the car, I had no experience in sales.
So no prior sales. So what attracted you to, because I remember the day when I made that phone call, and I mean, I was intrigued by network marketing myself at that time. Sure. And of course, made phone calls to people that I knew. You was probably one of the few people that picked up the phone and was interested. Okay. Like most of the guys that I called that day, to this day, they were not interested. But what made you interested in even learning more about network marketing? Because a lot of people have a lot of negative thoughts around network marketing.
Sure. I wasn't necessarily interested in network marketing. I was interested in opportunity. Okay. And I think people will assign their future to a definition of something that someone else gave them.
Understood, yeah.
But before we even get to why I was interested in the industry or the opportunity, I respected the person that called me.
True.
There are times, for example, someone else may have presented something to me, but because they didn't have my desired results, I didn't believe in their work ethic, if they were going to continue to do it, right? I may not even looked at it. So I want people to realize that is sometimes it depends on the voice you hear before you can actually listen.
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. And I think even back then when we started looking at network marketing, now I didn't have the type of success in network marketing that you had, but there was something about the industry like you said, it wasn't necessarily the industry. It was just the ability to be able to make passive income was what attracted me to the whole thought, right? And that was, to me, my first introduction to entrepreneurship was the ability to be able to make passive income. There was a quote, I think it was maybe J. Paul Getty, one of those guys, that said, "I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own."
Sure.
And that always stuck with me, and that's what I felt that industry allowed you to have. I mean, was those strategies, the concept, things that pulled you into it as well too?
That absolutely had me thinking differently because I was always taught that you go out there and eventually your skills get better, then your rates get better, then you can do things that way. I didn't really understand the concept of being an employee mindset, the business owner, the self-employed, and investor. Didn't understand the 4 quadrants at the time, but I think my mindset evolved from when I first got involved, I wanted to create the passive income. Let's do it. But you can't create passive income without having revenue flow through your organization, your business.
Right. Yeah.
So I had to get good at creating environments. 1, where people wanted to buy a product. 2, where individuals believed that they could do it as well. And that's a mindset and a culture. Case in point. And let's just say we had the best widget in the world, right? I have the best widget in the world. Nobody wants to buy the best widget. You can build a product in a warehouse, but you build a community in the heart.
Right. That's right.
So you have to create a culture and an environment where people, 1, want to benefit from the product and the stories and the services. 2, that they believe that they can actually earn income and do the same things. People don't want to join companies, Tim, but they do want to become part of a mission and a movement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you saying that first year, you only made $2,700 the first year, right? Most people would have quit.
Absolutely. I got excited.
So you got excited.
Yeah, I did.
Why?
Because it showed me that they would pay me based on the activity I did for the company. I got an even exchange for my time and services, and they paid me exactly what they said they would based on that activity. So now the question was, how do I create more activity? But I was in singular mode, production. I wasn't in leadership mode, reproduction. Matter of fact, the first commandment in the book that I read is to go out and multiply. That was our first commission.
That is true.
Right?
Yeah.
So how do I go out and multiply and do that? And there's some strategies that we implemented. The 3 laws of building, as an example, if someone's listening. From the network marketing perspective is, first law is, it says, a recruit's not a recruit until you help them get 2.
True.
I'm like, wow, the only thing I was doing was sponsoring this way, right?
Yes.
When you go wide, you create income. You
Yeah.
go deep, you create security. And then it says, well, everybody says, man, my team's not working, Tim. My team's not working. You got 5 people. That's a spades group with extra, right? All right. And so, but you help those 2. You say the people you sponsor, you say, let me help them go 4 levels deep. And now you have what we call a leg of business, right? So I went from helping my 2, somebody get there 2, and I went down 4 levels deep. And you're normally going to find someone like you 4 levels deep. Your friends and family don't trust you in the business.
No, they don't. Right.
One, you don't have the success in this industry.
Right.
Right. And then if you wind up winning, what happens is that you wind up putting up a mirror of difference in front of them. They say, wow, they really aren't. Naturally, in their mind, they're trying to protect you by saying it's not going to work. I don't want you to get hurt out there. But if it works, then they're going to say, crap, things I've been doing all these years, maybe they don't work. Anyway, now, once you get down to that 4th level, Tim, you start working with that person as if you sponsored them personally, and you go 4 more levels. So now you went 8 levels deep, and now you have a team. You have a recruit's not a recruit until they have 2 recruits, and then you go 4 levels deep. Now you have a team. 8 levels deep is a leg. You do that 3 times. In most companies, you create a 6-figure income. Sounds simple, not easy to do, but it's a skill set. If you learn, it's called taproot. If you learn how to taproot and go down deep, you're going to find other people who have similar desires. And then leaders, you have to track leaders. You're building a team, but you need something that they're going to order from over and over again. But if you want to build a team, you have to make sure that you understand where leaders come from. Leaders, I think, come from 3 places. Leaders are either attracted because you have enough attraction, right, that they'll say, you know what, I'm going to listen. Like, Tim, when you called me, you were a leader to me in the fact that you knew how to make money. I'm gonna take that meeting, right? Okay. So I trusted your voice enough to take that meeting. So a leader is someone that's attracted, at least going to come to the table, take a look at it. Another leader is what I call identified. If you look down to your group, you see somebody, they put 20 people in the past month, and they have a whole bunch of customer sales going on. Guess what? Wow, I didn't talk to them. I didn't help them. Matter of fact, they may not have ever done it before. They're naturally influential, and you may reach down and say, hey, just so you know, I'm right here if you need anything, right? Get good at leading from the middle and not the front. Let other leaders lead themselves. If they're running, let them run. And then the leaders that really stay with you forever are the ones that are developed. Someone that's never had success, they have a strong desire, they reach out to you, they follow your instruction, not blind loyalty. I'm talking about the instructions of income producing activities, and they start working with you, and then they start giving attribution for their success to you. Always be humble and realize that their success has nothing to do with you. You just created an environment where it's possible for them to win. They did the work. But when they start winning, they're going to say, you know what? I want to thank Tim for putting me on. I want to thank Tim for giving me the environment, supporting me, being at the events, taking my phone calls. And they wind up staying with you because there's a form of loyalty and connectivity that they honor.
How long did it take you to get to that point of leadership, right? Or the ability to lead like that, right? I mean, I know that first year you didn't make pretty much didn't make any money, right? Yeah. Other than the $2,900, right?
Sure.
When did that leadership ability start kicking in for you, right?
Yes. I was still working a full-time job at the time. So I was making six figures at my job, and I made 40-some thousand the second year, 70-some thousand the third year, and then I finally got to 100,000 in my fifth year.
In your fifth year.
And my story was, man, I got a six-figure job and a six-figure part-time job. And I used to sell that. I used to sell that story, man. You know.
So you were still, when you made your first six figures in network marketing, you still had a full-time job.
Oh, 100%. Right.
Now, and that's important to note, because many people would have quit their full-time jobs. Some people right now are quitting their full-time jobs and aren't making six figures in either some type of entrepreneurial endeavor that they are pursuing. And I'm of the mindset that why would you leave your job, even if you were pursuing an entrepreneurial endeavor? Why would you just leave your job when that entrepreneurial endeavor is not bringing you any income? Right.
You know, I was always taught and believed that, you know, from 9 to 5 you can actually create funds, and then you can fund your fortune in after hours. A good friend of mine, David Shands, wrote a book called Dreams Are Built Overnight. I used to work in the evenings, phone calls, presentations, and I would light it up. So people talk about balance. I don't believe there's balance when you're running for your future. I don't believe in balance. I believe that, you know, there's some sacrifices, but there's not balance. So, you know, we used to work in the evenings, man. Like I said, I would work part-time on I worked full-time on my job and part-time on my future. And so that's what we did for years. I remember there were times, I can't make this up, I would on a Friday after work, I had a presentation. I live in Atlanta, maybe I have a presentation in Baltimore. I would get in my car Friday night, and I would drive all night, about 10, 11 hours, and then I would go up there, do the presentation the next day, change in the bathroom to my suit, freshen up, do the presentation, go to lunch with some people, go get some rest, go visit family, have a meeting or two on Sunday, and then drive back all day Sunday night. I used to do that once, twice a month.
Wow.
It could be, you know, Memphis. You know, Baltimore was my main one because I'm from there. Always had good sized teams up there. But those were the things that people will see the glory but not know the story.
Absolutely.
And some people say, I can't believe you would do something like that. Here's the one that you get all the time. Hey Tim, how's that little business working? Oh my God, I used to hate that one. So I unfortunately I got petty for a few years. I'm like, oh, it's great, you know, especially when I left corporate America. I was like, how's that little job working for you? You know, but anyway, that was kind of me, and I've evolved from that. But no, it was great, man. It showed me that if you really desire something, that you have to put the work in until you become the person that you're looking for.
So it took you 5 years to get to six figures. You still was working your current job. So when did you decide to leave corporate America and go full time?
The best thing that ever happened to me is, to this day, I don't know if I got fired or I quit. I was working for a company, a major company in the wireless industry, right? And I had to go out to the West Coast for an event with a client. So what I did was, there's a conference for the company I was working with, in my network marketing company. So the direct flight was, I'm gonna make a number, I don't remember, say $700 from Atlanta to the West Coast. Well, it was the same price if I did a connection to Las Vegas and then went over here. So I did that, and they came back and said that I was using company funds to go to do other activities. Which I wasn't. It was the same amount of money, right? So they wanted to do an investigation, all this stuff, and I said, man, I quit. You know, and I wound up leaving. There was already some challenges because, you know, at the time now, I was driving a 7 Series BMW to work, and, you know, everybody else would look like, how'd you afford that? You know, so, I mean, because I was using my part-time money to pay down debt. We travel, you know, we got a nice car, whatever, right? So we got some nice extras in life. And the funny part was, they called me back and said, hey, look, why don't you come back in? I know you probably was hot that day. And I came back in, and then on a Monday, and then they were like, on Tuesday, they were like, I think somebody came in from West Coast, and I think they're gonna let you go, and I just left again. So to this day, I don't know if I was fired or I quit. I don't know, man. But so basically, they forced my hand. And it was okay, because it's probably a decision that had to be made, because you really can't grow to the next level until you leave the first level.
Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes in situations like that, you need to be forced. Into or thrust. I like to use the word thrust. Into it. That's the same way with me when I left corporate to get to go straight into the government contract. I was thrust into it.
Yes.
I had to, what's the saying? You got to cut the umbilical cord, right?
Cut the umbilical cord and burn the ships.
Yeah. So in doing that, though, well, I'm assured that you encountered challenges.
Oh, no, oh yeah.
Right.
Sure. Well, some of the challenges were I thought, oh man, I got all this extra time during the day. I can grow the business. Well, everybody I want to talk to is at work.
Right.
So I had to reprioritize my time, man, and figure out what I was going to do. And the reality is, let's go back to that. Okay, I was making $100,000 in my part-time job. Now that's not my full-time. It's my full-time income, right? A lot of that money in entrepreneurship is really put back into your business.
Correct.
So you might make $100,000, but you're putting 60, 70, 80% back into your business, whether it's for travel or marketing or whatever you need operationally to really get up and running and scale, right?
And that's a very good point that you make, because I hear people a lot talk about their business made $1 million, right? But the realization of it is that you didn't put $1 million in your pocket.
No.
Right? So you, in that case, your business was making 6 figures, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, you were probably only putting 20% of that back in your pockets, right? Because you have to put that back into the business to grow the business.
Right. Like I said, those trips, the hotels and other events and dinners. I mean, you spend money growing it, especially at the beginning, man. You got to fuel the fire until it can fuel itself. You have to. You absolutely have to. So, and that's, again, to your point, that's the part most people miss. And my litmus test back then was, until you have a 2 to 3x on your part-time income versus what your traditional income, I don't think it's time to go anywhere. But again, that's different for everybody.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it goes back to what someone's their risk tolerance is.
So when did you start seeing? Because I know your story, how you actually grow your business, right? I mean, to the point where you started hitting the high level positions in your company. You started spinning off, going to other companies. But when did it start taking off for you? I mean, what year did it start taking off for you, and how was that experience?
Right. So we started having hyper growth after that first company. We went to another product company. The first company was actually a juice company. It was a purple juice, didn't taste great, didn't smell good.
Right. Yeah.
It was a crazy thing in the world, man. And that company did $1 billion in sales in 4 years and 10 months.
Yeah.
So for me, I went to another product company. I wanted to be around. I joined this other product company. It was a coffee company. And because I was attracted to the leadership. They had the lifestyle, the results financially. They had the skills. They were polished. And I wanted to be in an environment where I could hone my skills. So we got to 6 figures for 3 or 4 years in a row there. And traveled quite a bit, learned a tremendous amount. It was at that point, so now let's just say, we're probably 7, 8 years in the industry before I thought that I had enough skills to run a large organization independently. I was really good at running organizations and plugging into an organization, right? Because I believe in collaboration. Collaboration is the new currency. Collaboration is the cheat code. No, consistency is your cheat code, but collaboration is the new currency. How do you leverage something that's better than you to make you better? Let me give you an example, Tim. Let's say that you and I just jumped into a pool, an Olympic-sized swimming pool, but the currents are different speeds.
Yes.
Right? So we go down here, and you swim at 10 miles an hour, and I swim at 5. But we tap the other side at the same time because my current is moving fast, right? My current makes me go faster. I can do one or two things when I tap that wall. I can recognize that the current assisted me, or I can give attribution to myself for thinking I'm a 10-mile-an-hour swimmer. But not realize that it was the system, the current, that made me look and do better than I actually was.
I like that.
And so I was okay with realizing that I had to plug into some other things until I was good enough to be a 10-mile-an-hour swimmer.
Sure.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Case in point. You remember when we were a young man playing Duck, Duck, Goose? So you go around, duck, 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 and goose.
Yeah.
Sometimes people want to be it before it's their time.
Good point.
And that's a leadership principle.
Yes.
At what point do you realize that it's okay not to be it?
Yes. Yeah.
Everybody wants to be it,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's not your time to be it. And that's when you have to realize that humility is not a character flaw. It's just something you currently don't know. And that's the strength is in humility.
And you see that a lot today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You see that a lot today where everybody wants to be it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you don't see a lot of collaboration happening.
No.
If everybody wants to be silo, doing things silo. That's why I believe that contrary to popular belief, I believe a lot of entrepreneurs are failing now. Just due to that principle, that point that you just made, the lack of collaboration.
Yes.
Because they want to be the Lone Ranger.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's a biblical principle, right? You talk about the fact that pulling away from the vine too soon. If you pull away from the vine, you can die if you're not right. If you're not mature in your leadership skills, you're not mature in your emotional and intellectual quotient. If you pull away from the vine too soon, you can actually die. You're not ready to be planted in a new area yet because you're not rooted strong enough in your own ability to work, live, and operate independently.
And and I want to ask you, I know it's kind of maybe slightly off path a little bit, but I think you bring up a good point that I want to get your opinion on. And that's the concept between entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs, right? Have you heard the term entrepreneur?
Yes.
Yeah. And when I first heard that concept, it made sense to me because everybody wants to be entrepreneurs, but a lot of people can bring much value in being an intrapreneur, right? Because the entrepreneur is just someone that works within a company to help grow, utilizing their skills. I mean, what's your thoughts around that?
That goes back to something I said earlier about the ability to lead from the middle. So for example, I'm at a place in my career and development that I realize that it's not about me being on a stage to lead someone. It's not about me being on stage to inspire or motivate someone. How many people can I get onto the stage? Because the person that controls the spotlight really controls the show. So when I first got into network marketing, I was sat in the back of the room. Because I was newer, the leader sat up front. Then eventually I worked my way to the front of the room and I thought I arrived. Then I also realized at some point I need to get to the back of the room again because the people making the most money were in the back, celebrating those up front doing the presentation, controlling the spotlight, control the show. That to me is the entrepreneur mindset. How do you work in an organization, corporately or entrepreneur type environment, where you can help raise up other people, give them the skill sets, the opportunities, the culture, the environment where they can win. And then that's where the success kicks in. That's where the reproduction kicks in.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about some of the myths around the industry of network marketing and MLM. Because as you know, there's a lot of, some people call them pyramid schemes.
Yes.
Some people call them, scams and all that type of stuff. What's your take on that? When you hear someone says that, oh man, that's just a pyramid scheme.
Well, most of the times, and these are valid concerns. These are extremely valid concerns. But I think you have to understand the definition of what a pyramid scheme is. It's when there is a product, when there's a service or something being sold with no product. If there's no product, you stay away from it.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's
right. If people are selling a membership or they're saying, hey, we're going to give you these amount of funds, you put these in, you're going to move on this board, these things are going to happen. There must be a service that's being sold in exchange, and that service must or product, a service or product must have a value associated with it that is in line with what it's being sold for.
Right.
I can't sell you this bottle of water and say, hey Tim, you know what, man, we're moving these bottles of water, man, for $1,000 a piece, and you make a $900 commission. That doesn't line up.
Right.
Does it make sense? So again, I think that's what it really comes down to. The reality is the structure of network marketing is very similar to almost every structure we participate in right now.
I totally agree.
So let's go right now to corporate America. There's a president, there's board members, there are executive level folks, and there's mid-management, and then there's the workforce, right? So that's that. Let's go to something we're all familiar with is the church environment. You got the pastor, the junior pastor, associate pastors. You got the staff, the deacon, the ushers, right? Then you got everybody else in the congregation, right? So we're working like this. So you can look at almost any entity, and you're going to see a hierarchical structure, right? What I challenge folks to think about, though, if you want to build a business, because I think our industry has definitely evolved outside of traditional building, and we'll talk about that, is that we really look at it when you come in. Case in point, I went to a travel company, and I stayed there for 7 years, right? There were 40,000 people that joined that company before me. Okay? Now, people will always say, man, you got to get in first.
Yeah.
The people at the top make all the money. I became the number one income earner in that company. But 40,000 people joined before me.
Yeah, before you. 40,000 people was before you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So did I break the myth? Was the myth not true? The reality is everyone's at the top of their own hierarchy. No matter where you start, when you start, you are at the top of your own hierarchy. So you can't, most people will look up. And what that is they're trying to say, hey, if I don't win, there's a reason that I don't win.
Correct.
As opposed to saying, you know what, I have the same opportunity to fight at this position that anyone else does. And I love that with marketing because it doesn't matter if you're from Yale or from jail. It doesn't matter. They don't look at your credit score. They don't care about anything. The only thing that happens is what can you bring to the table from a production perspective that we can compensate you for.
And to me, it's kind of a form of franchising. Right?
It is.
I mean, franchises. You go buy a franchise. I mean, it's actually more expensive to go buy a franchise with all the fees and things of that nature. Whereas within network marketing, you are able to create your own franchise within that company.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to your point, the barrier of entry to get started is usually significantly lower. You can start most companies, from $100 to $1,000, depending on what size packages they offer, whatever. But I don't know where, and I'm sure Tim, your government contracting business, I'm sure even the software services cost more than that to get started, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's okay to have concerns about it. I always say that inspect what you expect. If you're interested in the industry, take a serious look at it. Find someone that has some good stories. They're not just going to sell you what they want you to buy, right? Ask the right questions. That's what I did. I had to ask questions, and when I started asking questions, you start having these aha moments, and then you know what? Oh, I can do this. I had someone ask me. I was in La Plaza, Louisiana, with a good friend named Jeffrey Keys, right? And we were sitting at a IHOP doing a presentation, man, in that coffee company. Man, I was down there, and a young lady said, well, can you ask me, she said, answer me a question, sir. I said, yeah, of course. She said, how many people in this company quit every single month? And everybody was on bated breath. They're like, oh my gosh, she got him. And I said, ma'am, I don't know. I said, I was absent that day that they had the class on how many people fail.
Right.
I said, I can tell how many people win. And the reality is, why should I study how many people fail?
Right.
I mean, if it's a KPI or a metric and I'm trying to work on retention, no, her question was, why should I not join?
Yeah, that's what she was trying at. Yeah. Yeah. But in the realization of it is, 90% of entrepreneurs fail.
All day long.
Right?
Yeah.
So why would you focus on that particular industry and say that most people fail in that industry when 90% of entrepreneurs fail every single day?
Yeah. Right. And the thing that you look for, you find.
Right.
So one of my mantras in life is the quality of your life is dictated by the quality of your questions. And I just try to get really good at asking really good questions. So, for example, I've had people say, man, just why would you want to do something like that, man? But you understand the connotation of it. And my question is, man, where else can I go to create a lifestyle like this with this amount of startup capital? Where else can I go to travel the world and meet presidents and vice presidents and members of Congress in other countries? Where can I go to? I can go to South Africa and not know anybody, and 3 weeks later on that same country, I'm talking to thousands of people and I'm touring Parliament. How can I go to a country and speak in front of 10,000 people at a church for someone that ran for vice president of Nigeria? I mean, so this industry has allowed me to connect and experience things at a whole different level that in a quicker way. I always tell people, man, if you're going to dream, why not dream big? Small dreams don't have magic. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And I mean, and you make a good point about how it opened your environment up, right? To be able to experience things that you would never experience before.
Correct.
Right. And I think the reason why people feel a certain way about network marketing is the fact that most of us don't like sales.
Of course.
And I often tell people, if you don't like sales or if you can't get comfortable with sales, there's no way you should even be considering being an entrepreneur.
Not at all. Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you don't like sales, then you shouldn't be an entrepreneur, period.
Correct.
Regardless of what industry you're talking about, whether you are starting a small clothing shop or whether you are, got a videographer business, whatever the business is if you don't like sales. So Mark, how important do you think the skill or the ability to sell? Because network marketing, which I like, network marketing is about sales, right? But how important do you think sales is to just being an entrepreneur in general?
I think sales is critical in general. Every single day, someone's selling and someone's buying. I don't care if you're talking to your spouse, significant other, you're talking to a business partner. In every conversation, someone's selling something, someone buying something, right? I had someone earlier tell me, are you picking up what I'm putting down, right? So whether it's, yesterday my wife and I, we were going to pick up our kid, and we left, and I was like, hey, I want to go over here to this restaurant, and she's like, I really don't want to go to that restaurant. And I knew for a fact that I wanted to go there, and we always go where she wants to go.
Yeah.
I said, baby, you know what? Can we just go where I want to go one time? I had to sell her
Yes.
on me going to that restaurant.
Yes.
Now, I didn't do it for some sort of financial gain, but what I had to realize was selling basically is, you know what? There's something of value that I want, you want, and I'm prepared to exchange for it. The thing is, it's nothing wrong with sales, but people like being sold too. So if you can understand that you can position people where they can feel like they've been educated on something, right, or they've experienced it. Most of the products in the company that my wife and I are currently starting are products that people use every single day. So what we want to do was use those products as a delivery system for other aspects for health. So you don't have to convince someone to buy coffee.
Right.
They already do that. The question is, can you sell them on yours?
Yes.
So that's why we actually have created, for example, sampling models. Can you imagine just letting someone sample your product and they love it? They don't feel sold to. Now, here's the philosophy I give on sales. Let's just say, for example, that you like pizza, and I came over to you and I threw an entire pizza in your lap. Said, Tim, you're gonna love this pizza. You're overwhelmed.
Yes.
But I said, hey Tim, do you like pizza? Do you like it cheese or pepperoni? You said cheese, and I offered you a slice. You took and you liked it. You probably would say, hey, that's pretty good. I want some more. So this is a way of introducing something to someone, getting their input on what it is that they liked about it, offering them a sample of it, and then they later in life come back and say, you know what, I want more of it. If they love it enough, they'll keep buying it.
I like that. Yeah, I think that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So let's shift. I mean, you just mentioned the new venture that you and your wife started.
Yes.
NuSpira.
Yes.
Right. And so talk to us about what is NuSpira? Where did the concept come from? Just give us a little taste of that.
Absolutely. So my wife and I were talking about how could we work together one day. She's amazing, corporate America background, executive in the health industry, and we came up with this name, NuSpira. It's actually a combination of two words, new, like play on NEW. And then spira comes from two Latin words, inspirare, which means in spirit, inspired, and then spirare, which means breath of wind. So we wanted to bring some products that like a new breath, a new wind into the industry. Okay, so we have currently four products, and our lead products are coffee. We have a black and a latte coffee, but they're infused with functional mushrooms, or they call them adaptogenic. So we have a mushroom called lion's mane that's actually infused into the coffee, and it helps with cognition and overall brain health. Some people say it helps with dementia. We don't make those kind of claims, but there's a lot of attribution of what it helps with clarity.
Yes. Yeah.
It really dials you in. We have a mushroom called reishi. It's good for overall health and well-being. We used to call it Ganoderma, shiitake, mitake, chaga. And all these great health benefits. Here's the thing: imagine having a good cup of coffee, and by the way, there's some health benefits that come along with it. What we like to say is, man, we took the habit and inserted health.
I like that.
Yeah. So basically, we're using coffee as a delivery system for some of these incredible products. We say we want to bring the natures of the world. We want to bring the wonders of the world to the people of the world. Yeah. And so we have the black and the latte coffee. We also have a liquid vitamin. Imagine liquid form. I didn't realize, man, there's so many people that can't take pills.
Oh,
yeah, tons of people, man. So imagine they're getting every vitamin you need in 1 ounce to take a shot tastes pretty good. Take a shot, and you get everything you need in one single shot. And the name of that product is called Vibe. VIAB. Stands for vitamins in a bottle.
Okay.
So man, we say it's a vibe.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And then our last one is a detox tea, because the average person walks around with anywhere from 10 to 25 pounds of waste in their body on a regular basis. So we have this incredibly gentle product that actually cleanses and detoxifies your body. You take it. It's called Kayev. It's actually a Hmong word meaning to evacuate. So you take that, man. You can actually cleanse yourself. You got your liquid vitamin replacing all your minerals. Do you know the word vitamin comes from two words? Vital minerals. Vital minerals. Never knew that.
Vital minerals?
That's where the word vitamin comes from. Vital minerals. Yeah, vitamin. So it brings all your vitamins to your body. And then you have the product that we absolutely love. Coffee is the most consumed beverage in the world, only behind water. So if you could take a daily habit, a ritual that people already experience, that don't change anyone's behaviors, and they can take it and get just feel great afterwards.
Yeah.
I think we did something special.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I definitely have heard of lion's mane, right? You hear of lion's mane and all of these herbs, right? Because lion's mane is like a herb, right? Am I right by saying that?
It's a mushroom.
A mushroom,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, fungus.
So I've been hearing about the benefits of mushrooms.
Yes.
So I think when you with infusing it with coffee,
Yes.
I think is a great thing, because a lot of people do drink a lot of coffee, right? But what's your goals and aspirations for the company, right? I mean, you guys are starting this company. You'll be launching it soon.
Yes.
What's the plan? What's your goals and aspirations for it?
So getting into that, the thing about the mushrooms very quickly. Our mushrooms are actually grown in a very unique way. The mushrooms are normally grown either in one of several ways. In sawdust, which is not the best way. They're grown in oats. They're grown on the side of the trees. They're grown in dirt. Those are the ways we're most familiar with. Ours are actually grown on purple corn. It sounds kind of crazy, right? So purple corn is actually mainly in the South American, like Peru, Bolivia, Argentina areas, Central South America. So we have this organic farm that grows purple corn and grows the mushrooms on them. It's called it's a substrate as the corn. And long story short, it makes it more efficacious, more powerful, right?
Yeah.
So we have this organic mushroom grown on these incredible pieces of purple corn, and it makes it heightens the effectiveness of it. So that's kind of the story behind it. So people start experiencing that, man, it's going to be something pretty amazing.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah.
And so with that said, to your point, our goal is not just to deliver these products via network marketing, which is definitely one of our acquisition verticals. Network marketing has evolved. It's not about the lifestyles like it used to be and people driving these fancy cars. This is about how do we get products and services into people's hands and get a lot of customers that want to use your product. Because, a leader might leave you.
Yeah.
Right? And that's okay. You want people to go and experience their life wherever they best fit, right? But customers will stay if they love your products and services. Now, a leader might stay longer if they have a lot of customers.
Yes.
So there's a benefit there for everyone. So we've created a very customer-centric company where customers can actually get a discount if they want to buy it on a monthly or subscription type basis. We are a direct-to-consumer e-commerce business that allows people to buy the product, but we also we pay our affiliates, anywhere from up to 20 to 25% of a sale, and then we also allow them to have overrides if they have team members or customers that order underneath them. We have other acquisition verticals. We'll be selling on Amazon, for example, and TikTok Shop. There's something called Amazon Inspire. Amazon has their own reels now, like TikTok.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so that's a new way out there as well. We'll be selling via affiliate marketing, so like the ClickBanks and the JVZoos of the world. You're going to see us a lot of exposure all across the marketplace. One thing that we've realized is that in past, the sales field would say, "Oh my God, the company is competing against us by having these other verticals."
Yeah.
And I think we've solved for that because what we're doing is we're creating a very strong brand awareness.
Yeah.
So by the time someone says, "Hey, look at my product, my service, my widget," right? They're going to say, "Wait a minute, I saw that here. So, it must be real because it's on Amazon. It must be real. It's on eBay. It's on Etsy. It's on these different places." So now we have brand awareness, right? So by the time they get to you or you expose it, they've already had multiple exposures. They would say, "Wait a minute, let me go ahead and buy from the person that I know," right? So that helps there. Also, we can control the sales price by trademarking our products and putting them in these larger acquisition verticals. What happens then, is that we don't have to worry about what I call dumping pumps, pump and dumps. People buying product at one price, selling it cheaper to get a bonus.
Yeah.
So we eliminate a lot of those things.
Yeah.
We protect the brand, if you will. Yep. So those are some of the things we're looking at. But we think that we have something that the world wants, and we're going to launch here. But depending on when you're watching this, June 2024. And when we do go live, it's going to be neat. We're going to go live in Canada, United States. We're working on Mexico, Trinidad, and Dominican Republic from day one.
Oh, from day one, you guys are planning on going international then?
Yeah, to certain countries.
To certain countries, yeah.
And our goal is to be in 20 countries in 3 years.
Wow. So what? I mean, how does you started out in network marketing as a rep?
Yes.
Over the years now you have your own company, product related company. How does someone even go from, the process, I guess, from going from, and it took you years to get here, obviously, right? But how did that process even work, right?
Well, we
the backing, the financial backing, all that stuff that's needed, because I'd imagine to start a company like this is not. I'm sure it took a lot of capital and things of that nature to do so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I used the term earlier, collaboration is the new currency, right? So my wife and I had to decide, do we bootstrap this?
Yes.
And, maybe we put products in our garage, or we get a facility somewhere, and we do these kinds of things. We had to look at those costs. We had to look at, what was the operations cost for that? What do we need to bring on compliance individuals, warehouse folks? Do we need to bring on staff for legal? And I could go down the list. Who do we talk to for trademarking? Who do we talk to for distribution and compliance? There were so many different aspects to look at, right? It's just not just an idea, something you think of and you go do the next day. And so what we want to do is we partnered with, we outsourced a tremendous amount of this. And this was powerful because we brought on our back end operational support is actually out of Texas. So they actually do our formulation, our manufacturing, distribution, and we leverage that entire backbone. Okay, we did not want to do things. There were questions that we had that we didn't have answers to, and there were answers that we didn't have questions to. So we wanted to make sure that we could partner with someone that had all those answers, so that we could focus on what we were really, really good at, and that was the sales and the marketing aspect, the branding and the marketing, the network and the connections, the relationships. We wanted to build that side of the house, right? So we did those things, and we got in a partnership with a venture capitalist to work on some of it, and then we did a lot on our side to make sure that we can get up and running operationally. So we have a partnership in that regard as well. Yeah. Now, most people will say, "Well, man, I can't believe you're going to give up such a large part, or you're working with someone else where you don't get 100%." Well, 100% is zero.
You better believe it.
And our goal is to do $1 billion in sales in the first 7 years.
Yeah.
So a large percentage of $1 billion is still a large percentage.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the things that early stage entrepreneurs miss, right?
Yeah.
Is the collaboration, the partnerships. One of the great things I learned by being in government contracting was that partnership, teaming and partnerships was the way that you scale.
Yes.
Right? You can't scale by yourself. And that's what you guys did. You brought in a partner.
Yes.
With experience, maybe with capital, with resources to help you scale it, because this type of structure you guys have right now, it would taken you years?
Years
to build that, right?
Sure.
With the large capital outlay, whereas bringing in a partner that has all those things help you to scale faster.
Oh, 100%, 100%. So someone might say, you know what, I'm afraid. I personally was afraid to partner with startup companies. I always say, ground floor opportunities, the best you can get is dirty, right?
Right.
Now, when we get started, we'll be a day one company, but we're really not a startup.
Exactly.
We're like a company that's starting day one with 30 years experience.
Yes.
Operationally.
Yes. Because
of our partnerships and our collaborations. And that's okay. And I'm totally excited to say, you know what? You never have to worry about a check being paid. Never have to worry about a product being delivered on time. Never have to worry about quality assurance for your manufacturing. None of these things you have to worry about because those are all taken care of. I was talking, matter of fact, our partner's a billionaire, right? And there was a question that was asked of him, and I'm in the room with him. This is several years ago when I first met him. And the question was, how do we fail? And I love that question because sometimes you always say never ask a negative. But if I'm going down a highway, isn't it always good to know where the potholes are?
Yes.
Right? So that was the pothole question. And it's like, well, how do we fail? And there was a very matter-of-fact answer that stuck with me for years, Tim. The question from a billionaire, the answer from a billionaire on how can we fail? He says, I take care of everything. You just take care of the sales and the marketing. If you got sales, you don't fail. But to your point earlier about sales, sales is the lifeblood of your business.
Absolutely.
Lifeblood of your business. So if you have to be bringing in sales, whether they're recurring sales or new sales, on a consistent basis. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. But again, to have that insight from someone that says the only way you fail is if you don't produce. And that brought me back to my first year of marketing.
Yeah.
Let's go from producing to reproducing. How do we make it viable for a customer? We've done that. Matter of fact, do you realize in our commission structure, this is really cool. In our commission structure, we have a bonus pool. And I'm sure some company may have done it, but I have not seen it before. Is part of our bonus structure is we actually give a percentage of the company revenue to individuals who bring on customers. Not even for having the biggest organization, the biggest volume. But if you have 10 customers, you can be a part of the bonus pool of the company. You have 20 customers, 50, 100 customers. So we have this structure in place where based on how many customers you have, not how big your team is, you can participate in the revenue of the company.
And that's all the revenue, right? So
Right.
That's just not from the
We're going to allocate 1% to 2% of company revenue.
That's good.
Of the commissionable volume of company
Yes.
revenue and set it aside in the bonus pool. And we'll allocate that once the company hits a certain threshold.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you pitch? And that for sure, a lot of people listening to this, and I'm even curious myself, a lot of people listening to this podcast will want to know, how do you pitch a business idea to a billionaire?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So, everyone has an idea that's similar in some way, right? So the question is, what gave us a unique value proposition?
Yes.
I think there were a few factors. I think, and I say this humbly, my wife and I have what we call past success. So we can come to the table saying, here are the stories of winning, if you will.
Yes.
In everything that we've done in some capacity. Okay, so there's a track record, and I always believe that trust is built over time and track record. So there's a level of risk mitigation by saying that you have some history.
Yes.
One, two, we brought money to the table,
Yes.
and we didn't say, you know what, hey, we've done well before. We're going to rest in our past success. Give us some money. No. Hey, by the way, we want to come in and we want to help fund the operation, right? And as part of that, in exchange for your partnership. So now we have skin in the game. I believe the antenna go up a little bit differently than without that.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So matter of fact, we were doing this for about 6 months, this exercise, and didn't get the results or the feedback that we wanted. Until that happened. Is that a coincidence?
Right. Yeah. That's an important point because I see so many entrepreneurs that have come and I talk to them and they asking for venture capitalists, they're asking for angel investors, don't have any skin in the game.
Right.
And I often tell people that point. You got to have skin in the game.
Yes.
Right. I mean, no one wants to invest in your dream or your
Correct.
business or your growth if you haven't invested in it.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. And that was the thing. So my wife and I sat down and we were very intentional about our prayers, about what we wanted and desired. And it came to us very clearly that if this was going to happen, that we had to make sure that we put up our own capital in order to move forward. Now, what that does, though, is you move different when your money's in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You move different, right?
Yeah.
And again, I've always been one to move regardless. But there is something that says, you know what? Not just one person can lose if you don't win. And so that was something. So those are two things. I think the third thing that allows you to get someone's ear is the relationships. There's a person that has his ear that I have been connected with in business for about 12 years. And I kept the relationship, not knowing that that person would go, and from that company 12 years ago as a project manager, to another company as an operations manager, to another company as an operations manager, to this company, he's now the COO of one of his divisions. And I kept that relationship so I could use that person to connect me, not even a dotted line, but a direct line to him, right? That makes sense? So now, because I've nurtured relationships over the years, I think people miss that. So never burn a bridge that you have to cross one day.
That's
You
very
never
good
know when you
point.
have to cross the bridge.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. So listen, as we get ready to close this podcast, I always like to ask my guests this question. What advice would you give? Because I'm sure we got a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs,
Yes.
young entrepreneurs watching this podcast. What advice would you give an aspiring entrepreneur, someone who's just getting into entrepreneurship, wanting to get into entrepreneurship, and particularly the ones that's probably interested in the industry that you are involved?
Yes.
What advice would you give them?
I would tell them very clearly to dream bigger, faster. Dream bigger, faster. I want you to. I always say, man, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And I want you to look at, really write down a 10-year goal. I want you to start writing down everything you need to accomplish it, and I want you to start doing it in 6 months. The only thing between you and your goal is time.
True.
So figure out who you need to be in play, what needs to be in play. You start working on that big goal and start making it happen in an extremely short window of time. Because it's no different than, you got to clean your room, right? I got to straighten up around the house. And, oh, man, it's going to take me all day to do it. The next thing you know, you got this pretty girl, this sexy dude want to come by, right? Somebody you're interested in. You clean the house in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Something can happen in a short window of time if your goal is big enough, right? So I'd say dream bigger, fast. I think that's huge and key. And here's the last part I'll share with you, Tim. I want you to start picturing in your mind exactly what it is you want and to write it down. And write down your goals in present tense, because your mind can't take a joke. If you say, hey, one day I will be, your mind will never focus on it because your mind operates in present tense, right? So, for example, I say I'm happy and grateful that I run $1 billion enterprise, and I put down the date. I am is present tense. I am.
Yes.
Is creation. I am the great I am.
Yes.
I am is being. And then operate out of a spirit of gratitude. I am happy and grateful. Always operate out of the spirit of gratitude, right? And then talk about your goal in present tense. Because see, here's the thing. What follows I am will follow you.
I like it, yeah.
Think about this.
Yeah.
You've ever asked somebody, hey, how you feeling today? I'm finna get sick.
Right.
What follows I am will follow you.
Yes.
In the book that I read, the book that I read, it says this, Tim. It says that never take the Lord's name for vain. If I am is creation, if I am is God, and this is my belief. Then when you invoke that, what follows it, you will not be held guiltless. So I am happy and grateful that I do this. I'm happy and grateful that I have a beautiful family. I'm happy and grateful I'm healthy in my body. I'm happy and grateful that we created this amount of lifestyle and income. I'm happy and grateful that my product is benefiting people all over the world. What is it from your faith, your family, your finances that you want to invoke into present tense? Because what winds up happening is that there's a part of your mind called your reticular activating system. It's your personal assistant that the same way when you're walking through the airport, there are thousands of people and someone says, hey, Tim, and you hear your name. Your personal assistant is looking for what you're openly conscious of receiving, but you must know what that is and speak it every single day. Write your goals down in present tense. Speak them to yourself 100 times. I used to put them on my dashboard. I had them on my mirror. I had my goals on my ceiling. So when I woke up, I saw my future. And then I didn't have vision boards then. I had vision environments. I had pictures of what I would look like, where I would live, the cars I would drive, how my family would look. I would have them all over my home. So when I walked through my home, I would always see my future. So that's what I would say. I would say, write down your goals, 10-year goals. Write down what it takes to accomplish them. Start focusing on them in 6 months. And then write down what I would say, get the bag. B-A-G, big, audacious goals. Get the bag. So, God bless, take care, take charge. That's all I got.
So, Mark, how can people connect with you? Give out your social handles.
Yes.
give us some more information on your new company, you know, in terms of how people can connect with you there. How can we connect with you?
Absolutely. You can go to NuSpira.com, NuSpira, NuSpira.com, and you can literally just jump on there. Matter of fact, we'll put a link in the bio.
Yeah.
For anybody on there that wants to maybe, you know, try
Absolutely.
the products, or
Yep.
they can message us directly from there. All of our socials will be at the bottom of the website. You know, like, love, follow, and when you get the coffee, stir, sip, and savor.
I like it. I like it. Well, listen, man, hey, it's a pleasure. I'm glad that you were able to join us on today's episode. I mean, look, you shared some great insight, at least for me, things that I didn't even know about you, especially your how you started out in high school and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So it was a pleasure to learn more about you, your new company. I'm excited to see NuSpira come to light. And listen, man, I hope that you can be on the show with me again. Especially once NuSpira comes out, where we can go in more detail about what the company is doing as well too. But pleasure having you on the show. And like we always say on the show, keep bootstrapping.
Love it. Thank you, Brent.